Hello everyone. Today we will talk about a very disputable topic called the counter transference and transference issue. Okay, you will notice it's like Carl Rogers was the one who gave the humanistic psychology. He discussed the phenomenon of transference and counter transference. So, if you are a student who has not explored the Rogerian way of counseling or dealing with clients' psychological content, have only stuck to the textbook understanding of Rogerian techniques, then you will always view transference and counter transference as a deterrent to your therapeutic relationship. However, if you read the case studies of Carl Rogers, you will notice he is very mindful of using that particular phenomena. He is not saying this phenomena will be completely avoidable. Okay, he doesn't talk about this thing like that. But sooner or later, I guess, it seems from his case studies that he learned how to use it. In Ericksonian psychotherapy, by Milton Erickson, of course, uh, the psychotherapy uses these all things. The transference and the counter transference is used in the as even though it acts like a resistance, even though it acts like a enmeshment in the therapeutic relationship. Ericksonian hypnotherapy or Ericksonian psychotherapy teaches the therapist to step into six roles. Okay, every time the therapist identifies or psychologist identifies that they are actually in contact with this phenomena, transference or counter transference, there are six different roles. Today we are not going to discuss about the roles. Okay, because now if I discuss about the roles, a lot of other issues may crop up. Okay, and I teach this only in training sessions because these roles are not something you assign yourself. These roles come up, they're part of your way of dealing with the psychological contents of yours and others. Okay, it's also like it's very very subjective to the inner world of and the outer world of the therapist. So it's something that you teach, this is something you train students. Okay, so today we are only going to discuss how to use transference and counter transference if we are finding ourselves indulging in it. So see, transference and counter transference is about you identifying, as a therapist you are identifying with a particular member of the family of your client or particular role your client is trying to push into your world. Let's say I'm going to tell you about a client who told me um, that you're a hypnotherapist, and before you I went to another hypnotherapist who actually was one of my colleagues, by the way, and I could not I found a very of I could not fit in with that particular therapist, but with you I'm not feeling that kind of a resistance. Now this isn't trap. Okay, if you have been in this particular field for a longer period of time, you don't take it as an ego boost anymore. You see, okay, where my client is coming from. So because we had already had one session, I told this client, maybe because you have active mother issues, and because I know I have a little bit of motherly instinct, and this is how I work out the my psychological contents. You find some resonance, or you see an ideal mother figure in me. All the while I was aware I was acting as the role, I was taking in the role of the mother figure for my client. Here there is the platform for the transference, the counter transference, sorry, for the transference has been set by the client. It's a trap. See, this is why I'm saying, if you are someone who has only stuck to the textbook understanding or Rogerian principles, you will think this is a trap. It's not a trap. It's something that you are supposed to be aware of, because Ericksonian psychotherapy tells you every single thing that is coming up in the space of the therapeutic relationship, you are supposed to just become aware of it. Learn to use the same principles for your own good, for the therapeutic relationship to reach the particular goals of your client, of the session goals, in fact. So this is how I tackled it. I told, okay, because you probably need an ideal mother archetype or a mother, you probably are on the way of clearing your mother daughter issues, and this is why you chose a female therapist, and in the previous therapist probably that particular issue was not resolved. And for me, because I know this colleague as well, I was aware that in their space actually the mother daughter split was not taken care of, and I have been working on my mother daughter split since my psychology graduation, post graduation days. Okay, so some resolution must have happened in my space, this which led to a little bit of resonance for my client. So then my client started idolizing me, but I had to break that idolization. Remember, a daughter, a client or a daughter of the family who has not been reared or nurtured by an ideal mother, doesn't see the mother as an ideal mother, then they will start to use the same dramas and play it out with the therapist as well, right? Because sometimes the therapist, we are the parent figure for them, the guide, the mentor figure for them. So these are the things they are going to project onto us, their own dramas. So you have to clear that particular confusion and draw a boundary. So let me take in an example how this may also happen. This must be happening with you always, okay, most of the time in fact. But how to create this boundary? It is very very important that you are aware of your own psychological issues. As a novice, what will happen, because you are into this field, remember, you are in the field of psychology not because you are a healed person. You are in the field of psychology because you came from a dysfunctional family in most cases. Okay, so your space already has this imbalance which you are trying to cope by, from psychology. You are trying to collect all the pieces of you and trying to feel wholesome. And because you have understood something, you have your distinct coping mechanisms, inherent skills that you have already used in your coping of the dysfunctional family, emotionally dysregulated family. Okay, you feel a purpose, strong purpose, a drive which you are now expressing, or working it out through the field of psychology, becoming a therapist, psychologist. Okay, so you're doing that. So if the psychological contents of yours, the emotional dysregulation or the enmeshment in the family matters are not taken care of within your system, I'm not saying you are completely healed, but yes, if you have figured out a way to heal it, started your healing journey, your inner work journey, then what happens? You are always aware of your own psychological drama, right? You know how you play the drama. So when you know what your dramas are, where your traps are, the kind of emotions you initiate, the emotions that you do not express, your own pitfalls, own mistakes, own skills, okay, your own strategies. So what happens when your client plays out a similar issue, similar kind of a tactics, you are capable of understanding, oh, this is not me, this is them, or this is me, not them. Going to give you an example of a student who brought this issue, and this the student told me, I could not process the case while I was taking the detailed cases, so I could not process what my client is saying. And sooner or later I noticed that most of her issues are common to mine. I come from a similar emotional background like my client. So now, whenever I'm asking a particular question and the client is not answering that question or trying to deflect that question, I'm getting angry. I'm getting angry and I'm getting disappointed. Every single way I'm trying to probe in, the client is deflecting it. So I'm getting angry. So why is this happening? This is happening because somewhere while the therapist was taking the notes, started resonating with the pain point of the client. So don't think it's an empathy, okay? Our business, our work is purely based on empathy. But empathy without any boundary, you know what it is. It is bull. Okay? It's not a position you should be working with. Never. So So somewhere while taking the case history, the resonance thing happened, and when the resonance happens, what happens? Remember, whenever there is resonance, the material from one side will go to the other side. Where does the material go? From a higher energy point to a lower energy point. So imagine if the therapist is coming from a higher energy point, of course, because see, whenever the therapist is sitting in a chair, is supposed to have a higher energy point, and the client all probably has a lower energy point. So now what happens, the energy starts to move from a higher energy point to a lower energy point, and because now the client stops becoming a client, the client now acts like an inner child of the therapist, and the whole drama keeps on happening. So the therapist is now playing out the drama with the client. The client probably is not participating even. So whenever you notice, while you notice as a psychologist that, or maybe as a friend probably, you're noticing a lot of emotional turmoil is happening within your system, you have to understand you are in the trap of transference. Okay, your own transference, your projections are working out, and the client is also using you. The client is also using you as the difficult mother or difficult daughter, the angry parent, the one who does not understand me, right? They're going to put their own psychological drama onto you as well. This is why in therapeutic relation it's very important that you always keep on asking. There is a specific reason why we are using matching and mirroring, why we are summarizing, why we are always asking, or we are trying to confirm, is it what I'm trying to, is this what I have understood, is this what is truth, your truth, am I capturing the essence or not? Okay, because we are trying to be available, emotionally available to the client, right? Not to play out the drama. That particular section is also there, because in gestalt psychotherapy you will notice they have the psychodrama where they play it out. I'm also going to talk to you about a different set of therapy where the drama is actually played out in the roles the client assigns you, and that is called family constellation therapy. Okay, please google that. But in our traditional psychotherapeutic setup, in counseling and in psychology, we do not play out the drama, we hold our authentic selves. The therapist has to be authentic self, and authenticity doesn't mean you are always pure golden and you are the Roger, activate the Roger in you or a Jung in you. No, you are you. You are aware of your own psychological contents, how what drama you are into, but you also clearly draw a line and say, okay, this is my drama, not your drama. So when you set boundaries, the client also understands. I'm going to give you another point where you have to be mindful. Has it ever happened to you that while you are taking care of the contents of the client, suddenly you feel drowsy, as if your mind just goes like this, your body goes like this? So, and so, generally when it happens to me, I take a break. I say, please give me 2 minutes, give me a second, let me try to wrap my head around what you are saying. But if this kind of a thing happens, it happens to everyone. Okay, don't think that you are a psychology, you are supposed to have a very strong boundary and stuff. No, you are a human. Okay, you're not invincible while you are sitting there. So when this thing happens, when a lot of even while you're talking to someone who has who is going through a lot of grieving period, or a friend or a parent or any person that you are meeting, and they are loaded with a lot of psychological contents, psychologically unconscious contents. What is unconscious? It's only a degree of it's a meaning of awareness. The conscious is about how aware you are of something, right? And unconscious is how less awareness is there in those things playing out. So when a client is heavy and loaded with unconscious, a lot of information is not aware to them. So when they start telling you, an unconscious client starts telling you a lot of things, that unconscious will be heavy on your psyche as well. And suddenly what will happen, you will feel as if you are going blank, or you feel you lost the plot. This is what my trainer keeps on telling me, you just lost your plot. Okay, so whenever you lose the plot, or you become like this, your body language goes like this, you're no more, your backbone is no more straight or relaxing, you just feel like this. That means the unconscious has been heavy on you. Your ego is not able to cope with how much unconscious I want to download and work it through. This is also a kind of counter transference, mind you. Okay, at the moment, for you the client is acting like the source of unconscious for you, and a lot of things in your own space are also unconscious, demanding your attention, and it only will happen, probably will happen, when see, in our practice, remember, as a therapist, as a psychologist, whenever in the field of psychology, what happens is you are on a journey of self exploration, awareness. It's a journey of awareness, right? So, if you are not handling your own family issues, your internal spiritual issues, what will happen? A client will come up and will bring it to you. The client will bring it to you. Similar issues, or maybe same different issue with the same tadka. Okay, it may look from the outside, it will look like your similar to your issues, but it won't be that. Okay, so this will happen. You will notice the issue that you are grappling with at back at home is something your client is also going through. Okay, so again I said it's a question of awareness, not of your power. You are able to handle it or not. And this is another reason why I emphasize a lot on inner work. Okay, because in my training procedures, what I say, you have to work your issues in front of me, if you're allowing me to sit and help you out with this. Okay, otherwise keep on working on your issues, because if you don't work on your issues, your client will bring it to you any which way. You will have to deal with it, because in the field of psychology, as a or in spiritual fields even, like if you are into reiki also, okay, any energy a psychology oriented field, if you are will demand you that you work through your own inner resistances. If you are not working it out in your family, in your routine, then it will come up as a client. Okay, and if it is not going to come up as a client, it is going to enter into your pets, your family, and something, it you have to deal with it any which way. So keep on working on the inner work. But let's say you could not find some time to do the inner work, you could not understand what is happening, so I'm going to give you a trick. Okay, for the moment when this energy is becoming a little bit heavy on you, you're supposed to do only one thing. The first thing, remember, when it becomes psychologically heavy, do not use your mind, because your mind is not able to cope with it. Your mind is not the not in the power position. So you take your power from the body. Okay, so what you do, you will notice you will be sitting like this, hunched like this. The moment you realize that your body is going in a particular posture, immediately shift your posture. So the best thing that has worked for me is going and sitting and laying back. The hypnotherapist chair is a little bit laid back. Okay, so you take the more feminine position. A feminine position is someone who observes. So you only observe, you don't let it impact you. In a masculine position, what happened, masculine position is something who will try to actively work it out. Okay, very indulging energy. So when you indulge in the unconscious material of your client, you become masculine, and you have to work out that particular role the client is throwing on you, or the inspired energy that you are feeling. Oh, I must help this client out with this particular problem. Why is my client not able to understand it? Okay, let me help him show this particular perspective. Let me try this trick. This particular technique will help my client. This is a masculine proclivity. Okay, but if it starts to make you feel a lot of down, your energies goes down, you feel heavy in your head, immediately what you do, you take a feminine position, you become a little bit relaxed, say, okay, let me see what it is. Okay, you start leaning onto your chair, looking from at a distance, and the moment you bring the space, you enhance the space between you and the psychological drama that is playing out between you and your client. Okay, what happens now, you have that particular power to see, understand. Okay, now what happens, the transference or the counter transference does not touch you, rather it plays out in front of you. Remember, I said you cannot avoid it. You need to have some, you're supposed to be aware what is happening. Once you know what exactly is happening, you see the full picture of what the drama is about. Now you use your training, the things, the techniques that you have been taught. Okay, don't try out your techniques, psychological therapeutic techniques while you are feeling powerless. It happens to all of us. Bring yourself to your power position first. So this is something I teach in trainings as well. I see the power position is always different for others, right? For me it is leaning back. I have noticed in few of my clients, also in my students, the power position sometimes becomes keeping the backbone straight. For others it is leaning into a particular side. It's a power position for few people. For others it is like leaning away to the left side or right side, or putting the head on a particular side. Okay, it's very different from different people, and it shows up uh, during the training mostly. But yes, it has to be a power position. What is a power position? A position from where you are able to observe. Remember, it's an observer's position, not an indulger's or a doer's position. Okay, don't enter into a doer's position unless and until you are in power. Okay. So if you feel these contents are helping you out in some or the other way, you have queries, you want to address, please put it down on the comment section. And if you're liking this, please share and subscribe. I'll bring such contents more enthusiastically, of course. And thank you for listening to me. Bye.